Hello everyone and welcome back to Nelma's Comunicado. So this week we're going to talk about the link between anxiety, public speaking and over-talking. These are three distinct concepts in their own right, but put them together and you can have the best well-written speech, the best, most researched, nicely put together presentation that can very quickly fall apart and come apart because the presenter is talking too much. And that's an unfortunate case, but it can happen and it is quite common. So I just want us to take a little step back and think about what causes people to talk too much or to overtalk when they are presenting to a large group and a wide group, a large audience. This tends to stem from a few things. If you were one of those children where you, as growing up, you were often told that you talk too much, that stays with you. And normally you will carry that with you right through to adulthood. If you're a perfectionist, that will also contribute to you over talking, laboring your point again and again and again and again when you are presenting. If you're anxious, if you're someone who suffers from anxiety, you're nervous, perfectly normal. As I mentioned in a previous video, it's perfectly normal to feel anxious about presenting and about your public speech. But in some cases, that anxiety, if not well taken care of, and if not channeled and embraced in the right way to give you an advantage, one of the ways that it can manifest as a disadvantage for you is by you over talking and really not sticking to the format of your presentation or speech. The other thing is also the fear of not having your audience understand what it is that you want them to say. So some people think that by repeating the message again and again makes your audience understand and comprehend. And that's not always necessarily the case. It's about clarity. It's about simplicity to a certain extent. It's also about you being quite conscious about how technical your concept is for your audience and how that ends up translating into your delivery. You also want to make sure that your fear of how you're going to sound, how you're going to look, how you're going to present doesn't end up impacting your delivery in the end and you over talking. There are also some people, due to their personality traits and due to how they typically engage with people, that can also lead to them over talking. So if you're a person that has quite a boisterous personality, you're the life and soul of the party, you're used to being the center of attention, and you quite enjoy it, that's fine. But when it comes to delivery of public speech and engaging with a wide audience, that can really work against you, because you can go on and on and on and on and ramble on to the annoyance and to the irritation of your audience. There's a need for self-awareness when you are presenting, especially if you're somebody who knows that you often tend to ramble on a lot. Preparedness is key, so you need to make sure that what you're saying is tight, nice and succinct, nice and clear, and simple. And you should really just use the rule of three as a starting point. You don't have to finish there, but it's always a good starting point, i.e., what are the three main takeaways that your audience needs to leave with after listening to you? So the other thing that I would say is really critical is, of course, your practice. Now, you guys know that I talk about practice a lot, or practicing even a lot on this channel. If you're somebody who is prone to over talking or to talking too much when you are presenting, then you want to put yourself in a position that you practice in different types of scenarios and in different situations. So you want to practice with a hostile audience, an audience that's impatient, and an audience that has zero time to listen to you ramble on and, labor your point too much. That will be good for you. It's good for you because you'll be able to sense their frustrations. You should be able to hear the hissing and the huffing and puffing, the frustration that people exhibit in a non-verbal manner, shall we say. So you should be able to read their body language and to be able to get a sense of the fact that, okay, this audience is getting restless. That means that your delivery is not where it should be, And it's probably linked to the fact that either they're switching off or tired of listening to what it is that you're saying, so you need to switch it up a little bit. I would also recommend putting yourself in front of an audience that may not necessarily be engaged or necessarily interested in what you're saying. Now, this is very dependent on the theme and where it is that you're going to be presenting. You would assume that if you're going to be doing a presentation or at a conference, for example, that the people in the audience would be interested in you. But I would say make no assumptions. Not everybody is going to want to hear what you have to say, despite the fact that they're in the audience, believe it or not. So if you're somebody who is, talking, it also makes the audience question your credibility. For some people, that is indicative or suggests that you don't know what you're talking about, which therefore means that they may not trust you. It may question your position of authority, and then suddenly that damages your own credibility. Again, this is very dependent on what it is that you're going to be talking about. This is dependent on the type of issue, the tone of the matter that you're going to be discussing as well. That all of these things need to be taken into account. So the other thing that I would really recommend if you're somebody who has been told or is prone to over talking is to find moments in your day-to-day where you incorporate silence. Silence, stillness, opportunities of where there isn't noise, and there certainly isn't noise from yourself. Not only do you want to recreate silence verbally, so outwardly, but also silence in your own mind. A few videos back, I recommended practicing mindfulness, practicing meditation, putting yourself in a position of where you can have that stillness. This is even more important if you're somebody who is of high energy, constantly on the go, and actually doesn't necessarily have anxiety in the way that it makes you shy and demure, but you have anxiety and it ends up manifesting in itself of you over talking too much, and not necessarily ending up not being clear in the end to your audience so that they don't understand you. I hope this has given you some insight. Please let me know if this is a topic that you would like more videos on and further explanations on. More than happy to do that. But we're going to keep talking about how anxiety rears its head and manifests itself in your speeches and presentations when you're engaging in public speaking, and how to overcome that. So I'm going to have a little think about what we're going to talk about next week, but I'm hoping that this has given you some insight for those of you who are always told that you talk too much. See you next week.